Happy evening, Friday evening, coming to you tonight because this morning I was a little conflicted with the things I wanted to say. I don't, I don't like to be preachy. Um, as I will say often, my core is cause and effect. I try to stay neutral on everything. I don't know what I don't know, so I can have an opinion on something, but until I know everything that's going on. And even then, where do you get your information from? If you have two people in the same situation, two people that go on a vacation together, or two people that are in an incident, they're going to have a different recollection. They're going to have a different experience. Uh, it's just because it's their perception. So as I take this journey of enlightenment, where try to become uh, more enlightened personally, to learn more, to be, and my goal is just to be happy. Because there's a lot of things that make me sad, but I can't let myself stay there because it's not good for me. Now, and I'll say it again, what I do is what I do. That's what works for me. There's not one thing that works for everybody, but I know there's people, because I talk to them, that the things I say and the things I do resonate with them and help them out. And that's what keeps me going. Uh, this whole everything that's going on, it's straight in my mind. I know where I stand. I, I know how to create my own bubble. I understand how the understanding that I have of how things work and why people get what they get and why I get what I get. But when it hits closer to home, I have family members, as far as on the political spectrum, that are on both sides. So, and I have friends that are on both sides. I have to be cautious, for me personally, because I can have a debate with you. I can tell you how I feel about certain things, but ultimately, I'm neutral. It is what it is. But I can tell you what I observe. And there's a lot of people that just they don't want to hear it. They're not in a place of they just what we do, what I've learned, and these are things. These are things that I've learned. And here's something I was thinking about while I was riding my bike today. A lot of us, we look for confirmation. If we believe something, we look for someone that believes the same thing to confirm what we believe. What I do is I try to prove myself wrong. If I believe something, I try to find something that says, no, that's not right. And then if I can't do that, then I'm like, okay, I must be on the right path. Because it's human nature. We don't want to be wrong. So, that's why new religions get formed, and ideologies, is because I think this way. So I would need to find other people to think this way. Birds of a feather flock together. And that's fine. Again, that's why you have different countries with different beliefs, different cultures, different religions. That's the little deliciousness of life. It's not conformity. It is contrast. So sometimes you find where you fit, and you stick to that. So anyway, the back to my conflict is, uh, and I don't like to get too personal, and having my nightcap. This is what I want to share with you is how I handle contrasting opinions with family and friends. Friends aren't so hard because it's, you just try to keep that balance. Family, family's family. If you have, there's those sayings, you don't choose your family, but you choose your friends and stuff like that. But there is a line, and everybody's different. Some people want to be a rebel. Some people want to. If you think that you know and you're righteous and you want to go out and make a difference, then so be it. Every situation has its moment. You have to look at the situation for what it is, what happened, the people involved, what's actually going on. See, today everybody's just filming stuff, and that you just get parts and bits and pieces, and everybody's making their judgment without knowing all the facts. But that's just what it is. That's the society we live in. We're inundated with all this information, and it's difficult to turn it off, and it's not hard to find something that confirms what you believe, because people will lie, and sometimes they do it on purpose and sometimes they don't do it on purpose, but they're not telling the truth because they didn't look for the truth. They're just passing on misinformation, and it's rampant. So if you want to keep peace here, just remember, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what's going on. Be like a child that asks, when you say we're going to the store, why? So we can get some food. Why? So we can eat. Why? And just to start pinning it down. Why did this person do it? Why did that? Why? How? If you really want to know, if you have that time. I don't have that time and energy. I'm trying to create a happy world, and some people can say it's selfish. There's an art to selfishness. There's a book out there. There's a lot of talk about it, and there is an art to it because you can't worry about the world's problems. It is interesting right now that this whole pedophile thing is coming somewhat to light, but that we have people that are kidnapping and stealing children and sex trafficking them. But that's not in the news. That's extremely disturbing to me. Now, I'm not going to go out and start looking for it. Uh, I I will tell you, it concerns me, some of the stuff that I see, the feelings that I get, and I'm like, man, if I was to catch somebody or do something, I have to be careful because I'm like, okay, then I'm going to start drawing myself to that situation where I'm in that, and I don't. That's not my purpose here on this earth. So going back to this particular family member, I know they have. Do I give details? Nah, because it's in general. So this will apply to everyone. If someone Now, sometimes you can't have a debate with someone. Sometimes you just can't talk about it. And they say, there's the golden rule: don't talk about politics or religion at the dinner table. And there's yin and yang. There's a time for it. There's certain people you can. Obviously, if you can agree, then you guys can all chit chat. If there's a difference, but if you want to understand, if you want awareness, if you want enlightenment, if you want peace with someone that's close to you, but they see things differently, then, and you have to tread lightly. I think it's something you have to go into consciously, with thought. But sometimes people have their beliefs and thoughts, and it's because something that happened to them. You don't do it to convince anybody, to change anybody's mind. All it is for you to get a better understanding. See, that's a selfishness. Now, you're being understanding and listening to this person, which is good for them. But the selfish part is it's so you can be enlightened to understand where they're coming from. Doesn't mean you have to get in a deep conversation because, you know, we'll use politics, for example. You have Democrat and Republican, they have a platform. Do you really think that everybody that's Republican and everybody that's Democrat believes all the same thing? No, because they'll even tell you. But what's and to me, this is the biggest downfall of the whole political system. There's two sides. I mean, how it's always going to be 50-50, right? Where can you meet in the middle? Where do you have someone that says, I agree, but I disagree? And they do that, right? It seems like a lot of times, though, they stick together. Even though the answer might not be the best, one person at the top makes a decision and the whole group says, okay, let's stick together. Now, what sucks is that whole group is supposed to be representing the people, right? Which it just doesn't make sense. So don't get caught up in that. Don't think because there's something that you dislike about a politician or a party and someone is for that party, there might be just certain parts of what they believe. For example, uh, abortion, pro-life, pro-choice. There's different levels to it, right? There's extremes, and then there's in the middle where it's a choice, but it is a life, and there's a middle ground. But everybody wants to stand like, an absolute, like, nope, yep, you can abort up until the last minute, right? That's an extreme. Nope, you don't have a choice at all. That's an extreme. There's a lot of people on both sides that are more in the middle, but they can't say it because they got to stick to their party. Now, and that's a good example because there are people that have actually gone through, like you saw with Kanye. He was going to be aborted. He almost aborted his child. So, people go through things, and somebody might believe or want to follow the Republicans just because of that, because they had that experience, and that's part of their platform. They might not agree with everything, right? And on the other hand, somebody might have had an experience on the other side for whatever reason. So don't, if you're struggling with this, and a lot of times we see it's Facebook, and it's awesome that it's to me it's kind of like the great equalizer because you can see the people that are silent, they're not saying anything. You see the people that are just totally out there blasting stuff, and it's like, show me your true colors, which is great, I mean, but it's also how people interpret it. So if you have someone close to you, and to me, that's the only time it should bother you. If you're letting this whole scenario and strangers and just acquaintances on Facebook, what they say about what's going on, and you're like, oh, you don't have all the information. So what? So what? Back to the serenity prayer. Can you change that? No. So some people want to have their opinion and that's it. There's some people that are like, hey, what's going on? To give me the information so I can make my own choice. But it, I, for what touches my heart, what's been bothering me is when it's family. Because like I said, I have them on both sides, and I've disagreed with them on both sides, and so I've learned that I don't even just sharing. I don't try to change. I've said it before. I don't try to change anybody's opinion. There's no right. There's no wrong. You have your opinion. Whatever way you got to go, you got to go. You got to be you. You got to do you. And if you're wanting to, if that's in flux, which it should be, you shouldn't be stubborn and set in stone, because then you're going to be stuck and rooted to that spot. But just try to, if it's something that's bothering you with someone close, because when you let stuff rattle around in your head, it takes away from your focus from what you're trying to do accomplish in life, and it affects you physically. I am completely convinced that and so does science, and that's why we use the placebo pill to get drugs approved. I always assume that everybody knows certain things, and I'm sure that I misquote stuff. And the day of fact checking, who you fact checking it with. But the placebo, as most of you know, is a sugar pill. So if you have a pill, a pharmaceutical company has a pill that they say this will cure uh, insomnia. So they say, okay, well, we're going to see the effect of it. So they take a group, they give half of them a sugar pill and half of them the actual pill. And always, always, the sugar pill works. It will work on some people. The actual pill has to outperform the sugar pill to a certain, I don't know what the degree is, but for it to pass that test because it's up here. So our medical community uses that, just your mind healing yourself, as a benchmark whether another pill will work or not. So it's obviously that the mind, the stress, and there's books and stuff out there if you want to look at it. If you have certain things wrong, if you have a cough, it's because of the things you say. If you have a backache, and I don't fully subscribe to, because I don't think you can say just because someone has this feeling they're going to have this exact pain. I think it's going to be different for everybody, but you will feel, and I can't say for sure because I'm I feel a lot better, and part of it is my exercise routine, my diet, my supplements, and it's my mind. So I can't pinpoint to one thing or the other. But if you've got something that's bothering you and it's rattling around in your head, and that'll help cause that can be a cause to insomnia. People can't go to sleep because they're thinking about stuff, they're bouncing stuff around in their head, and it's because of politics or BLM or whatever it is. If you can get to a point where you can take yourself out of the equation, just like, I mean, I really don't know how to explain it because I've been able to do it for a while. But when they say put yourself in someone else's shoes, you have to literally, because you just have to blank out everything you believe and understand, and your opinion on whatever it is. If you're truly going to put yourself in someone else's position, then you'll be able to understand where they're coming from and why they feel that way. And at that point, you can decide for yourself, well, okay, that's bullshit, or oh, I get it. I have a better understanding now. And then you can make that decision going forward. Again, it's not coming to a conclusion, it's gaining clarity. So if you can gain a little bit of clarity, you'll understand what some of the trigger words are, some of the things, and you'll find out. All of us have a story. All of us have been through shit that we don't talk about, we haven't told. Yeah, I mean, you never know what someone's been through. You never know what's going on in someone's head. And a lot of times you won't know because they won't let it out. You have to be careful about assuming, because you have to take people on their word, and you get better at it. And that's, see, this is where I struggle with this, because there's no, each person's different. It's just like if someone is affected by the planets, which we all are to some degree, depending on if it's a full moon, somebody might open up more, maybe not. Maybe if they have a few drinks, they'll open up. This is the truth serum. God damn it. It's again, I don't think at this point I honestly feel that there'll never be world peace. It's just not meant to be. It's just that's the way this whole thing works. Is there's always a negative and a positive, and that's what keeps the world going around, North and South Pole. I think the fluctuation, yin yang, depending on what part it is, that sometimes there's more positive, more negative. If yeah, there's so much going on out there, and that's why I just come back down to what's the simplest thing. The simplest thing is I've got to be happy, and how do I do that? Well, I don't let things bother me, and how do I do that? And what makes me happy is a lot of times making other people happy, but I have to be happy first, right? So, and that's part of my goal is to not necessarily make other people happy, but be able to give them things. I love experiencing things through other people's eyes. To going somewhere with someone that they've never been before, and is watching them experience that. So whatever your path is, if you're struggling with a lot of this that's going on, uh, Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, I think is the name of the book. That's that'll give you a different perspective on life. And if you don't like to read, get it in audio. I just did that. If you've been following me, you saw I was trying to read Tony Robbins' Unshakable. I'm a terrible reader. I try to make time. And the other day, because I have his book, Money Masters, which came out years ago. And I know I started to read it. It's a thick book. I don't think I finished it either. But the other morning, I sat down and I said, I've got to read this book. So let me just go ahead. I'm a member of Audible. I had some free credits. So I said, let me go download this book. And I'm telling you, I opened the app. Money and Unshakable were both right there in my library, ready to be downloaded. Maybe it was because I bought the book. I don't know. Maybe it was a promotion they were doing since I was a member of Audible. I don't know, but the books were there. I downloaded it and I finished Unshakable since then, and this was 2 days. So uh, getting information, and I listen to it while I'm riding my bike, while I'm working out, while I'm driving in the car, so I don't have to take any specific time. But getting other information, getting different perspectives, it just changes your view on things so much. You're like, wow. And it starts to change you, and the way you feel and the way you act towards people, and it really starts to open your eyes. I did terrible in school. I barely got out. I'm a hands-on doers. I have to do. As you see, I like to do. I love learning. I love the brain. Don't like reading. I don't like um, uh, just book work. Uh, so anyway, books are important. Reading. Um, yeah, take a deep breath and try to, even if you're just following somebody on Facebook or something and you're having an issue trying to understand, just try to look a little bit deeper. And then if you want, just ask sometime. Just why do you feel that way? And don't say a damn word. Just listen. Just listen to understand. There's that phrase that too often we listen to respond. If we all want to be heard. We all want to be heard. And I experienced that just recently. I was in a situation where it was Conversation was pretty much one-sided. Never got to share my side of it. And I was like, okay, that's the burden I have to carry. And uh, that's just the way it was. But there are times when you have to, and it's for your own good. Again, it's being selfish. Look at it as being selfish. Look at it as like, well, I'm doing this for me, but I really want to understand why you think that way. And you might be enlightened, and you might say, well, that's what I thought anyway. And then you can make your choice from there. But you kind of get it out of your mind and stop rallying. Maybe write it down. I've been doing a lot of writing and journaling lately, uh, every morning. And I'll tell you that the first question: what do you want? What do I want? What do I want? What do I want? And just start writing. Let it flow, whatever it may be. Cheers. I hope you guys are having a wonderful night.